Yes, carry on.
And it was mainly this core work session. And there was one when you were starting breathing and so on, and then rolling up, being on the floor, rolling up, and then bringing the legs to each side. Yeah, you have the legs in this angle, and then bring them to the side. And I was wondering, I was doing this, and it felt quite a strong movement. Yes, and then I was really wondering, because you were saying that the opposite pelvis or hip stays as long as it can on the floor.
Yes.
And I was actually not, I mean, I was doing it, I think it was okay, but I wasn't sure if it was the right way to do it. So this is the one question I have. And then I have had this shoulder issue for a long time now, but I would really like to figure out Chaturanga, to go through how you would do it.
Give me it in English. I never know the names. Cobra.
When you go from plank into Cobra, this transition, the transition, how up you go then, anyways. But the transition, how you, sometimes it works, sometimes not. But maybe we can add this one if anybody else is interested.
I second that. I'm interested in that also. Yes, because I've always felt I have like a weak sort of arms and shoulders, and I always feel a lot of strain in that transition. So
I think it's really tricky to get the head out of the way and to get this shoulder girdle organized in order to go through this transition in a smooth way. But I think it's, I find it really tricky not to, if I do one thing too much, then I have this, I don't know, Sehne, this ligament, which is like snapping over somewhere.
Yes.
Johannes.
There was another one you said before that, wasn't there?
Yeah,
the rolling to one side.
Lying down and lying down and then bringing the legs to each side.
Yes, side twist.
I really like that session though, this core session you did 4 weeks ago. It was really nice, but also quite challenging.
Yes, I said to Amelia afterwards, I've just given them an hour of core work. She said, Mum, you shouldn't do that. You're not supposed to do an hour of core work. But yes, it was quite a strong session. I thought afterwards, oh gosh, I hope I haven't worn you all out. Yes. I mean, it wasn't an intense, totally 1 hour of core work, but yes. Right, so what you're talking about is being in being plank. That transition there.
No. I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. When you are here, you go down, and then you come forward, come up.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, that is.
So it's this down, and then either you go into up dog or you go into, I don't know what, coming back into down dog.
Yes. Okay, that's a much more challenging movement, I agree. Yeah, and that's it's push up, isn't it? Yes,
it's push up, but you come forward.
Yes. Are you keeping your body completely off the ground? Because ideally you keep your body completely off the ground, but my body has to go on. I'm not very strong once I get to that position.
Yeah. It is. I mean, the easier version is keeping the legs down.
Yes,
Down first, and then you can do the lower pole stuff, and then you go down in order to kind of dive through.
to dive through.
So that you
Yes,
don't, then you don't get your shoulders up, but really keep them in this
in
alignment.
alignment. Sarah,
Just a little thing not that I do it very well, but that I try to teach. I don't know if this helps you, Micah, is the alignment of the elbow. To keep it from going back, you need to come more forward so that your elbow really stays above your wrist and it doesn't go behind. I don't know what you think about that, but that's how I was taught. That is the ideal alignment. I honestly, I can't really hold it very much.
Yeah.
So the same as, like what we think of in chair pose. Yeah.
Okay.
And one way that I work with students who can't really do that is putting the yoga blocks in this area to have a little support and to start strengthening. I haven't done it in a long time, but it's definitely one of my weak points.
Yeah.
so the elbow stays above the wrist, you say? The elbow stays, did you say elbow stays above
Yeah.
wrist?
Yeah, so if I have my blocks, I think, I don't know if this, I haven't done it in a while, I can't remember how I use them. But, so I'm going to come, I think maybe even this way. I'm gonna come forward to my blocks. This is chaturanga.
Oh,
This
I
is like the ideal position where the hands are right under the elbows.
Mm-hmm.
That is, yeah, I mean,
That's how I was taught. I don't know if that's if that makes sense anatomically, but that's what I was taught I should aim for.
Yeah, and then from there, you then push through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I can't teach you this one. I'm working on press up at the moment, and I'm working on getting a slow down. At the moment, I'll try what you just said.
It's a good hint to keep the elbows over the wrists.
Elbow over
Yes, that's it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Actually, and if you put a block, let's just put a pile of books there. I think I'll just. So the feet need to be further in, don't they? So that, see, that's playing around here. Right, and then you can come up from there. That's the general idea, isn't it?
Yes.
But so it's much easier to come up from. Yes, it's yeah, I couldn't do it without that for the moment. But that's going to be a very interesting one to play with. I don't think I can suggest anything more than that, other than, I'm working with this deep fitness trainer at the moment. I've told you that, haven't I? And he gets me doing press ups twice a week, and I can now get to. I was only able to do a third of a press up, and now I can do half of a press up. But what he does get me doing is slow downs, and it sounds like that would help. Just to take, he gets me doing sort of 10 slow press ups, but then 1, 2, 3. He gets me doing down to the floor over 10 seconds. And one of the things he suggested is really keep it as if you're sliding the fingers as if you're sliding the hands towards each other. So, because I've always sort of worked just with engaging the triceps, and if one does that while thinking about sliding the hands towards each other, they don't, of course. That helps these engage, which is helping me support much better to the floor. Do you want to have a go at that? Just We haven't warmed up or anything. We're just, and I don't know whether anyone else is coming today, whether we're just a very small group. Sorry, Hannes, this is, so you're in plank, or you might be on your knees. I mean, if you can do it, I'm doing planks on my knees at the moment. And just do a 10-second down. So the elbows are coming back at 45 degrees. Don't take the elbows straight back in this one. Or if you're doing, or slow down, whatever you want, but just thinking those hands, thinking as if the thumbs are sliding towards each other. How is that? If you think the thumbs sliding towards each other.
Yeah, it's like a full
It's
arm
better.
stretch.
It is, isn't it? Because we've got the triceps working already, because we've opened everything out that way. And then if you bring those in as well, I mean, that's giving me so much support across the pecs, across the
It
front.
feels like I don't only rely on this poor little joint, but that there's more supporting.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? I'm starting to feel much stronger in it because of that. And it's taking the pressure off my weak elbow. Because I realized that actually it's a tricep problem, that, and if I need to get the inner, on this arm I need to get the outer side working better, and on this arm I need to get the inner side working better.
It's also protecting my shoulder thing.
Yeah.
But do you pull the thumbs like in the full arm stretch?
You don't actually pull them together, you're just thinking them. I mean, you can do it even against, if you're doing the wall one. If you just think about, as the elbows are going out, you're thinking about as if the thumbs are sliding in, but they're not. But you're just really thinking about them sliding in. And it's really activating the front, the front arm line, the deep front arm. Well, actually the superficial front arm line, I think. Okay, so that's
good.
Thank you. Yes, that's and I will play with coming down with the elbow, with the wrist, with the lower body arm straight. That's interesting.
But I think it's both ideas can go together there. I think it's a good way to continue working there.
I think so, except that, as I say, my understanding of both from this trainer, but also from Nancy Romita, who's Alexander in yoga, and she says take the elbows out at 45, which is 45 degrees, which is what he says as well. So if they're not there and they're not there, they're 45 degrees. And then that it's bringing it to that position, really, isn't it? It's bringing you to there. But in what you were showing us, Sarah, I think would you then be keeping the elbows much more? Would you then be keeping the arms more at that line?
Yeah, that's how I was taught. It's something I've questioned, but that's how I was taught.
Yes, I mean, it certainly looks neat and tidy that way. And I don't know whether when you come forward in that way, I wonder if there's the same need to take the elbow out, or whether you can actually keep the elbows in. It's got a different feel to it.
I mean, the thing is, that then when you are down, then you have this dive through into Cobra thing. You have to really, the weight goes forward from the toes, and then you. So I wonder if this would be possible when the elbows would stay at 45 degrees, but maybe we try that.
Yes, it's not so easy from 45 degrees. No, they need to be there, don't they?
Yeah.
In order to get them under you to push forwards.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, well, that's an answer. Thank you.
Penelope, I found a really wonderful animal moves class nearby.
Oh, yeah.
And the teacher is awesome, and it's such a good complement to my yoga practice.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of arm strength and a lot of four-footed things. Most everything is either on the floor or four-footed. I think you would love the class.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm green with envy. Yes.
And it's me and like a bunch of 20-year-olds. It's fun.
That's quite. That's And I'm sure you can keep up with the 20-year-olds.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, I mean, I can see so much that I could contribute, to, you know, with everything that we've done, you know, and the teacher's interested in Alexander techniques, so I think I might be able to do a little exchange with him.
Nice, very nice.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, let's start today's class. I'll just check the emails whether anyone else has said they are coming, can't come. No, nobody else has said anything. So
I have a question or a comment.
yes, please.
So working on the details, so like working, so it goes to the direction of
Working on what? Sorry, working on
this discussion until now.
Yes.
It's going a bit to the direction like a gym's trainer to really analyze the situation and yeah, to know, okay, this is here and I get this muscle in, which is good. But I have the feeling, what about getting all the stuff going, like the Alexander part of your work is finding it and knowing how to activate and get it tuned and let the body intelligence find solutions for all these questions. So it's what you say, playing around with it. And because maybe the solution is just somewhere else, I will never get there if I start to puzzle or, you know, to correct, oh, there's something missing here, I put it here, a bit more here, a bit more here. So let's find the body to get a completely different solution, maybe, which is really what the right brain can do, what the left brain can't do.
I think it does help on this one because it is such a strong move to actually make sure that the arms are, the elbows are going in the right plane, and then one can make discoveries. I think for my
feeling, if we do it on the wall, so I practice the push-up
we will do
on the wall to get the technique right.
Yes.
And as I find the connections,
yeah,
not before that moment, as I found it, oh, now I got the alignment, I got the direction, and it feels, I can feel the flow really going through. Then I can try the push-up.
Yeah.
And see the depth.
Well, let's get going. And at the end, when we've done all that, because we've gone straight into this cold, so we've just been playing physically. Yeah. So let's have our Alexander work and then come back at the end and see what actually happens and see whether we make some discoveries on it.
I would see if I can do it to the end because there is a very chaotic situation at my home.
COVID, right?
Yes. And so let's see how this.
Yeah. Well, if you get pulled away.
If I disappear, you know what happens.
Who's ill, your wife or your son or both?
I had my kids are through.
Yeah.
But today my wife's tested positive with an antigen test.
Yes, and I doubt we'll see Anadora today because she's still quite ill with it, I think. We're going to start in semi-supine. We're going to do some micro movements. I've been exploring micro movements with pupils, so I thought we'd do micro movements as a warm-up. So and the point about micro movements is that we're looking to engage the inner muscles rather than the outer muscles. Because when we make, say, a big turn of the neck, we're already engaging all the big muscles of the neck. Whereas if we just let the eyes go a few millimeters one side and the head makes the tiniest movement, just a micro movement, and then the eyes go a little bit away the other side, and just play around with the fact that the smaller movement you do, the more you get the sense that it's the rotatories of the spine doing the work rather than the bigger muscles of the neck. So they're tiny movements of the eyes, and you could even have the sense that it's the inside of the eyes, the lens of the eye is the one moving. So it's almost like the inside of the eye actually leads the movement. because the lens apparently turns as well. Letting the eyes, the scene come from the back of the head. So the whole head is involved at the intentional level, even though so little outward movement is happening. And it's like you're really linking up that inside of the eye and the neck spine. As if one is just drawing the other into action. And the shoulders can drop away sideways, and the neck spine is just unwinding. Being aware of the body breathing as we're doing that. Just letting there be gravity out breath happening, a falling back of the belly on the out breath. Even as the head is resting back on the books. With the eyes just leading it one way, then the other, leading the neck spine. And the breath is just falling back into the back. Front of the belly bar falling back. The psoas falling back, the guts falling back. And that back and up is coming all the way up the spine, all the way up the front of the spine, up the lumbar, up the front of the thoracic, right the way up the front of the neck, along the longus colli and capitis, and up and out through the eyes. So there's a link between the belly falling back and the eyes moving. And once you've found that front of the spine, that link between the front of the spine and the neck and the head and the eyes, then maybe just take the knees very, very gently, just a little way in the opposite direction as the head is led by the eyes into the turn, so that the whole spine is corkscrewing. Might want it to make it a little bit of a bigger movement at this point, but still not a full size movement. And that sense that even as the spine is corkscrewing, say left at the top and right at the bottom, so still that opposite hip is staying on the ground. It's going one way and then the other. Again, just seeing how, even though we're making a bigger movement, at this point, how small we can still make the movement to get the sense that it really is coming from the spine, the psoas, the longus colli and capitis, those Those inner muscles are the ones doing the work. And as we tilt, we've also got the interior obliques working. And coming back up to straight again, knees to the ceiling. And this time on the out breath, we're going to do a micro bridge, just the back's falling back and up, and the pelvis is just ever so subtly coming up. So it's like the bum isn't lifting off the floor, it's just subtly coming up and then down again. So we're just finding the muscles engaging. We're not particularly getting them to do anything. We're just making these micro movements until the muscles just engage. And just feeling them just engaging. And as the pubococcygeals are engaging forwards and the pelvis begins to lift and the back is just falling back and the inside legs are engaging and the big toes are engaging. And letting it all go again. And again, just find that micro bridge. As the pelvis lifts up with the pubococcygeals coming forwards, the whole of the spine is hanging back. The psoas, the thoracic spine, you can feel it coming right the way up to the neck spine. And then just starting to make it just a slightly bigger movement. So that we get this sense of the back hanging back as the butt side just begins to come off the floor. And now we're going to add to that, we found the front of the neck spine, and we're going to add to that a tiny ab crunch, just lengthening the head away. The pelvis engages, the psoas lifts a little, the belly lifts a bit, the pelvis lifts a little bit, and the head is lifting a little bit in the other direction. So we're just a little bit curling up towards the knees, but again, only a micro movement. We're just engaging this neck, lengthening away so that the head just lifts slightly off the books. And then bringing the knees up into this over the chest. And let's explore what Michael was asking of rolling the legs to one side and then the other. The head goes first, but say make it a micro movement for the moment. The eyes go one way, the head goes, the legs go the other way. And just see if you can find the point to which you can keep that other hip on the ground. And just exploring that for a minute. Eyes go one way, knees go the other way. Make the movement as with the head as big or small as you need at this point, but we're seeing how much can we keep that lower body engaged on the side that's staying behind. Whichever the opposite of the leading side is. You can explore it right up into the ribs, right up into the floating ribs. So what does it take? What do we need to engage? What does engage? I'm aware of it into the sides of my rib cage. It's diagonal across the front of the belly from the leading hip to the opposite rib cage. Okay. And then from there, you could try taking it into a bigger movement and see what happens. Just working that core. So now, although the following hip is coming off, you still have the sense of that core engaged. That's it. Just do a few with a bigger movement. It's taking time at the transition point between one side or another, not to rush into the movement, but to go into it slowly so that we make sure that we get that engagement of what's going on. Whatever wants to engage has time to engage before we're into the bigger movement. So we're making sure that although we're into bigger movements now, the micro movement happens first, so that we're getting all those little muscles engaging first before the big ones, or the inner muscles engaging first before the big ones take over. That's one more. Okay. And let's roll off the floor when you're ready. And let's come to the wall and find a wall. So one of the things I've been playing with, because of a pupil who's had sacroiliac problems, is actually being able to move the pelvis separately from the spine. Because I think so many of us, when the pelvis tucks under, it pulls the spine with it, and when the pelvis comes up, it jams into the lower back. And I can move my spine from there, which actually hurts it, or I can somehow move the pelvis from deeper down. So just maybe standing away from the wall a moment and just playing with that. So we can get that psoas, the PSIS to the ASIS working, stabilizing that. And then you can either move the pelvis from up here, and you see the difference if I move it from up here, and actually if I move it from down there, it's a totally different movement. And it doesn't then stress the back. It will rock happily without causing strain to the back. So does anyone have any feedback on that? Hannes.
I would say the spine is moving with the pelvis, but it's just the end, the lower end. And with the other movement, it's curving the lumbar spine.
Yes.
And I stop curving my lumbar spine. And it feels like the end of the spine is falling really down and just with the tip.
Yes, absolutely. It
Yes.
is. It's much more that, isn't it, rather than that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's not waving the rest. It's no counter movement of the lumbar spine to the.
Yeah. And it's that, I don't know whether it's actually just using the deep hip rotators to do it, but it's so much more comfortable. As you say, that the spine does follow a little bit, but it's much more comfortable. Any comment from the other two?
Well, I think it's also I can quite precisely then also feel the lengthening of the muscles further up in the back, in the spine muscles kind of.
Yes.
So it's lengthening the spine, of course, but
yes. So we can still be lengthening the spine even as we do a slight tilt up of the pelvis. We can sort of still be keeping them long, as it were. And if that makes sense. We have more options with the pelvis.
And it's also the pubococcygeals coming forward, no?
Oh, absolutely. The pubococcygeals are doing the forward movement. What's doing the back movement, I'm not quite sure. Yeah. But it is definitely, it's just that very lowest part of the pelvis. So it's quite a small movement. So being aware of that now on the wall, let's just go onto the wall and let that maybe tilt the pelvis a little bit to and fro from the bottom. In that way, just to help it to let go, and letting the PSIS come round to the ASIS so that the back can flatten round onto the floor, and of course the legs then do that in itself helps to screw the ankle. So that the lower body is opening. And then on the out breath, of course, we've still got this back and up that we've just been looking at. Up the front of the spine and up to the eyes. And you could even, on the out breath, try pressing up onto tiptoes in this position. So you're going up because the deep front line is going up, the lumbar spine is opening, and everything is just coming back and up the wall. And then when you're ready, just on the next out breath, just lengthening the knees, bending the knees so that you come down the wall. And then coming up again on the next out breath. Using the back, coming back and up, take you up the wall. The legs are engaged. Okay, and when you're ready, stepping away from the wall again. Being aware whether you're more back in your back, Hannes.
It reminds me a lot on what we did last time was the chapter 12 stuff. And is it getting the line between the sacrum and T8? It's working to get straight?
Yes, absolutely.
So for doing the pull, what we did with the chapter 12 stuff, especially with a stick on my back, I was looking for finding this and getting really the coccyx down, sacrum away, sacrum down. It's just the same movement, isn't it?
It is the same movement. It's exactly the same movement. Yeah. I mean, the wall is a lovely place to find it because it gives us a reference frame.
It's like a stick.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
Yeah.
Stick. And then as we step away, can we keep that going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I move, it gets very light. And because when I got the lower end of the spine open and curious going there somewhere, it's stopping my lumbar back from doing this, which it's normally doing. And there the strength is coming from, isn't it?
Where the strength is coming from?
Yeah, or I'm weakening the back because my lumbar back is doing this and holding.
Yes.
And this is pulling the coccyx up. And as I engage down, 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 it just stays open and connected into the legs.
Yes, yes. And then that's allowing the strength from the legs to come through, and it will be accessing the strength in the back in a different way, which will feel very unfamiliar to start with, probably. Yeah. Let's did we do walking backwards on the heels on when we did advanced work? I can't remember. Did we do where we actually came back on the heels? Did we do that one? Does anyone remember that? No?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? No, I have a feeling we didn't do it. So it's a Jando one. So in order to get the heels coming up, I would just fall over backwards. So I'm going to be thinking the PSAS strongly around to the ASAS. And I'm also going to think the top of the sternum forwards and up. And if I get all that going, and of course the psoas back and up, but this coming forwards and this coming forwards, I can actually balance on my heels and then I can walk back on my heels. So you're leaning slightly forwards because if you lean forwards, you can do it really easily. That's not the point. We want to stay completely upright and yet use these forward elements to keep ourselves up. That's it. And it's another opener of the lumbar spine. And then walk forwards and see what you notice.
I think we did this one because I don't remember the long legs when we walk forward.
Yes, yes, they're very long legs when one walks forwards, aren't they?
Feels
Yeah.
long and, yeah,
Yeah.
like the legs are hanging out.
Yes. Yes, it's nice.
What I wanted to add to the wall, it reminded me to coming onto heels without going forward stuff. And onto toes, I mean, without.
Reminded you of what, sorry?
It reminded me on the mantelpiece, Alexander mantelpiece thing.
Yes.
But now I could feel less strain in my legs actually. They had to do less because it was so clear what was happening with the lower back.
Mm.
Kind of the lower back was able to open more and thereby the legs had to do less because it was more, the corridor was more open or somehow, I don't know. But it was, it was really, really nice feeling.
Well, the wall gives us support, of course, and I've only just explored going onto the toes on the wall because I have a pupil who can't do it. He arches his body forwards, and he's really not using his core muscles. And to start with, if I asked him to go on his toes on the wall, he was pulling completely off the wall and arching forwards. It was fascinating. So it's a real engager of the deep front line from the toes again. Yeah, let's try walking forwards on the toes, walking backwards on the toes this time. So again, same thing, but we're going to use that to come on the toes. Coming back and up was also here. And then coming back, and that's it. And I'm sure all of you, I did this with a pupil the other day, and his shoulders were all over the place. They were doing this as he walked back. So again, what we want is for the torso to be totally stable, and the legs are doing the movement, and the torso, and I'm sure all of you will do that one beautifully. That's it. So this time we're coming on the toes. And again, straight legs, just, that's it. And you can see what one notices then when one comes forwards. Yeah. I'm aware it's sort of bringing a spring into my step actually. It's really sort of making something in here elastic. I don't know if anyone else is. Let's do a monkey. Yeah, go on, Hannes.
Yeah, so all the forward of the upper body, we had it sometimes. It's changing, so getting on the toes or the power of the big foot, the big toe push, getting up. It's so differently connected. So like the line I'm engaging with pushing the toes goes really here and forward.
Yes, yes, it's coming right the way through, isn't it?
Yeah,
right the way through and forwards, and then it's really sort of extending something up through here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, which then it makes one aware how much this must sag most of the time. And suddenly it's all drawn up, and then the legs just bend in this very different way. Yeah.
And I have a small comment, it comes just now, on teaching the posterior iliac spines to the anterior. I was doing today, and today I said I pull the back ones round, and this is engaging the transversus abdominis. And by this engagement of the transversus, the front ones are pulled back and up.
Yes.
And so the back and up, this was the starting point, which you got from Jando.
Yes.
But it's the people are struggling with because they don't know how to pull them back.
Yeah.
And maybe your inversion from round helps just to engage the transversus abdominis, and the rest is coming by its
Well,
own.
it is amazing, isn't it, how when one does it this way around, the belly, something does just draw back inside.
Yeah, because it's just engaging the right thing, and so
Yeah.
indirectly we're pulling the front ones
Yes.
indirectly back.
We're pulling them, we are pulling them back.
Yes.
But as I say, it's happening as a more indirect process rather than as a
Yes.
as a tug. No,
But
yeah.
it helps the pupils to think about there is something engaged, and that's why they are coming back. It helped a lot, I think so.
Yeah.
Just a comment.
Good, thank you. That's interesting. So let's just do a monkey against the chair. You can use your stick as well if you want for the front reference. So it's just seeing how we're doing on this one. You put your knees against the chair. This is what we did in, and you can have that if you have your stick if you want next to your. So we're just using this new pole run. In the past, we've used the anterior spines pulling back, and now we're using the posterior iliac spines pulling forward in order to get that engagement. Pulling back and just playing with it again, just to put that on my back for a moment, actually. And just playing with that monkey, seeing what it takes to bring the back into alignment. So you can put the stick on the chair level with the anterior spine, or you can, I'm using it on my back to encourage not just the lumbar spine to uncurl, but this tricksy bit for me is at the, I don't know, at the level of T10 or something. Come back. Not at the floating ribs, it's a bit higher, it's at the solar plexus level. Maybe. So we're pulling T8 up from the sacrum. We're pulling the fronts of the shoulders forwards from T8. Pulling the top of the sternum up and away from the ribs at the back of the armpit. And as we come up again, top of the sternum's coming up away from the sitting bones, away from the backs of the knees. Still T8 is coming up away from the sacrum. That's it. Yeah, nice, Sarah. Okay, and then let's do what we did, I think last time, of the half boat on the chair. You can see if you can find this that we've just been finding in the movement. So we're lifting the legs off the ground and then using this core engagement to bring the legs in, make the movement as small or big as you like. And I'm aware that on the back movement, you can arch back, or what happens if you don't arch back, if you keep those ribs coming back as you take the legs away, if you keep the ribs coming back, you're really engaging the the tummy muscles even more, I think, if one keeps these coming back and up as one takes the legs away. It's quite a tough move. Okay, isn't that interesting? Yeah. Now, let's come to squat thrusts. If you're okay for some squat thrusts, so we're going to put one foot on the chair. And again, you're really taking this back and up inside. It's as if there's an invisible wall behind your back. And you're just sliding down the wall and back and up to slide back up the wall. So again, back and up to slide down, and back and up to slide up again. And in standard gym training, this is all about building quadriceps. But my goal is always to see how little actually one can do with the legs and how much we can do it from that core engagement, taking us back and up. Keep the spine fairly upright. How are you doing? And change legs when you're ready. And again, just finding that little sort of, the pelvis has the freedom to move. The bottom of the pelvis can pendulum forwards and back before we start. The spine is free. And then we've got this back and up the inside, up the pubis, up the psoas. And then you can come down and up again. And the back is lifting us up the whole time. And I notice that the more I can keep my rib cage down, not let the rib cage lift at all. The minute the rib cage lifts, it gets harder. The more the rib cage stays back and up, the easier the movement is. So, yes, and let's try the L sits on the chair again that we were doing a couple of weeks ago as well, where again we just find that back and up just to lift the leg. Again, it's this back and up on the inside, so that the leg comes up from the psoas. Nice. How are we doing if we do that from the floor now? Can we find that from the floor now? Or from a little pile of books. One doesn't have to be completely on the floor. You could be on a book or a pile of books. And I'm just going to try it on one book. And again, just finding that core in it, and see if the leg will lift. Core engagement back and up. My right leg's still harder, but it does lift. So we really are seeing if we can use the psoas and these very lowest groin muscles particularly the psoas, to lift the leg. Back is straight. And the other little variant is again to sit on the floor with the hands and to use that internal movement to draw the torso back so that the bum lifts off. And it's a small move. Can you lift? You can lift your legs as well, Sarah. Can you? You can do the full L sit. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Can you get your legs off? Sorry?
You can do it without the blocks.
Yeah.
Because my hands don't reach. I have they
Right.
just.
So you
But
have
if I can use my yoga blocks, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
then you can actually get the whole thing up. Well, that's impressive. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't begin to get my legs off yet, but I can get my bum off. So, and this thing of, again, it's drawing the torso back with the, and then I can lift one leg. So again, if you can draw the torso back with the pelvis, oh, I can get my right leg up now too. I didn't used to be able to do that a few weeks ago. So, Alice, you okay there?
I injured my wrist some weeks ago, and all the stuff.
Yes. Oh yes, so you don't want to be doing this. Quite right. Okay, how are you doing there, Micah?
Okay,
Good.
I think I get one leg off,
You can get one leg off. Yes.
but not two legs.
Ah. Yeah, definitely coming. We're getting stronger. Let's just put the hands across on this. I'm just going to go in and out of the chair 10 times. So again, we're going to find that first. We're only just going to touch and then up again. So again, it's this back and up on the inside so that we just touch down and spring up again. The legs are engaged. PSAS to ASAS, getting that ankle screwing. Nice. So we're not leaning too far forwards. Like how much can one stay upright? Because the more we lean forwards, takes the work out of it, doesn't it? So the more you can just keep this all engaged, you can go up and down straighter. Of course, if one tries to go completely straight, it really just becomes a quad exercise. But we want this. What was that?
My dog, I'm sorry.
Oh, right, it was your dog. Good. I thought it was one of us. That's it. So how straight can you keep it? Can you feel at the last minute there has to be a tilt, Hannes? And what happens if you really work that at that point? Can you stay a bit more upright? Yes, it's just that last bit, isn't it? So let's play with have you got anything higher you can go on? there isn't burning my bum, I can go on to my
I have a question here because I think it's not only a matter of muscle and core muscle and alignment and all that, but I think that many people have, as myself, have like disbalance of the pelvis.
right.
Like, yeah, so one side is more in the front than the other or whatever. And so if you only push against that to find, to come down straight and all that, I think somewhere there should be, or there must be, dealing with these issues too, you know? I mean, I feel it myself. I cannot, it doesn't work if I just go in this back up stuff and keeping the legs aligned and all that.
Okay.
So,
so
yeah.
Does the problem come in after a while? Is it there at the beginning?
Well, I can trace it when I go down. I have large pants today, but when I go down, there is one point where I feel like the left wants to do this.
Right.
So it wants to do this, and I kind of keep it aligned, but somehow it's the whole way up the left side, which wants something, definitely something else. And so I wonder which way is the way to work with that, because it's, I mean, almost everyone has a tilted pelvis somehow.
Yes. So I mean, it's where we started with micro movements.
Yeah.
Just working the. I mean, here's another micro movement then, which we can do against the wall. Which is just to take one knee down and then the other knee. Now I could do a big movement, which might be that. But if I do it as a micro movement, again, I'm looking for the torso to stay straight, and I'm just looking to engage that sort of shifting tilt of the sacrum without it throwing anything else. So I'm sort of interested in the micro movements of the pelvis, that if we can get that micro movement happening, and we've got that one happening more as a micro movement. And one could do a hip lift as a micro movement as well. And you're just working the coming into engagement of the muscles. And I don't know whether they were working with somebody a couple of days ago, and they were finding that was really helping those sort of imbalances of the pelvis, just to find it in this micro form, so that the little muscles have to come into play. How does that? You want to try that one?
I'm going to try it, definitely. I don't want to interrupt the class by that, but I'm going to try it.
But we'll try it. It's because it's a nice one. Just if you're standing and just being aware that you're just dropping one leg and then the other leg, and just being aware that it's a subtle tilting, and it's a movement we do in walking, of course. But it's just, again, it's my sense is, I don't know I wonder if I'm loosening the piriformis here. It feels like something is happening at quite a deep level. If we just do this as a micro movement, so we're really letting something engage. What are you aware of?
Feels good. I don't feel a disbalance between right and left here.
Yes, at this point. So the next stage would be to try this on one leg. So it's like we're doing the bend that we've just into the chair that we've been doing, but now we're doing it on one leg, and of course I'm just not going to get there all the way. I'm just not going to do that. So that's where using something higher because I can do a sit down onto my heater and up again. And you can have the other foot on the floor lightly for balance if you want. It doesn't have to come right off. But think of it in terms of this little shift happening of the hip joint inside the sacrum as we do this. So it is not going very far. But we're completely staying level. So there's no tilting of the pelvis. There's no displacing over. None of that. We're not sticking the hip out. Everything is staying. The sacrum is just accommodating the movement. Somebody told me the other day that the sacrum can tilt in 6 planes. I want to get the book that she got this fact from to actually see what these 6 planes are, because I have no idea how it can move in 6 planes, but yeah.
Penelope,
Sorry, yes.
I found an interesting video, if you want to check it out, from Life in Motion Academy, which is linked to Tom Myers.
Oh, yes.
And it's about balancing the pelvis. So if you want to check it out, I liked what they did. I thought it was interesting. So see what.
Can you send us a link to it?
Sure, I'll find it. Yes.
That would be great. Thank you. Yeah. So how is that working on one leg there? Just keeping it all stable.
Yeah, the left leg didn't want to go as far as the right one, not at all.
Not at all. No.
Yeah.
So, but again, so we're doing that. You're just inviting them both to do the work. Yeah. And nice.
All this is it's really again about the forward of the upper chest.
Yes.
If I can keep it forward and the back.
Yes. Yes, I find I'm always wanting to mirror it for myself like that. Yes, yes. And then actually it's amazing. I can go deeper. If I do that mirroring, I can go a lot deeper.
And this is what I feel it is difficult for me to keep this forward, because there is the habitual reaction to try to straighten something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is just, yeah.
As I feel I'm falling, I do this.
This, yes, and it's not a helpful action, is it?
No, it's
not. When
not.
it's falling, it's exactly the opposite of what one actually needs to do. This is. Yeah, nice. Wow, you got all the way. Yes, I have in the past been able to go right the way down to the ground and up again. I can't do it at the moment.
It's much easier. So what's disturbing me is the feeling of being on one side, and I have the feeling I don't have the control where I land with my bum.
Yes.
But as I just do it and I see it's going, and I trust to land on the right place, then it's quite easy.
And it's okay. And I think the more one can stay with this midline, that we were doing here, the more we can stay with that midline, the more you can trust it.
Yeah. But my body feels if I do it, I would twist and don't know where to go with my bum.
Yes. Yeah. So it's really not worth going further than. That's nice, Sarah. Can you get up again? Yes, you can. Excellent. Yes, I'm not.
The teacher of this class goes all the way down to the floor and comes right back up with his leg like this. And
yes. When I
can go down and then.
Yeah. When I was 18, I possibly told you this story. I went to a dance course for a week, which was actually for mostly professional dancers. But we were there and we were sort of hopping along at the back more or less. And there was this old woman, she was 70, and she trained with Cecchetti himself. And she said, right, girls, now make a grand battement, put your little bottoms on the floor. And she demonstrated, stand up again, put it down again, 4 times this side, 4 times this side, 4 times this side, 4 times this side, and then replace the other side. And she demonstrated. I think there were a few American girls who were obviously real well on the way to being professional dancers who could do it. The rest of us just fell around. She was disgusted. In those days, I think I managed 3 before I fell over, but which at least was something. But she'd done that when she was in her teens, and she'd done it all her life. She kept it going. So, you know.
But this is because, you know, like that teacher, I don't think he knows how to break down movements so people can work up to them. Yeah. So you can either do it or you can't. And this is such a good way to get, you know, stages going.
And everything we're doing here, right from the micro movements on the chair, finding this and finding the little L-sits, they're all part of this, you know, engagement of this, so that we can do this full movement. Yeah, absolutely. I want to be able to get back to it. I'm cross that my legs won't do it anymore. So it's like, right, let's start again and build it back up again. Good. Let's go to shoulder presses against the wall, and we've doing what we were saying earlier of the elbows are going to come out at 45 degrees. And the fingers are pointing straight up, but thinking about the thumbs coming towards each other. And then, of course, if one gets that thirst back and up as well, PSAS coming round, we just might get the sense that it's the whole body doing the movement, not just the arms. And you can stand as far back from the wall as you like. It's up to you to, or have your hands as low down as you like. Just touching your forehead on the wall, keeping the speed exactly the same, going down to the wall and coming up from the wall. And you can come up on the out breath. Okay. Let's do a stabilizing plank. Are you okay to do plank at the moment, Hannes, or is it a bit much for you? Because what I'm suggesting is go into plank, and we're going to do a forward bended plank. Of course, we're not just going to go there. And then we're going to do taking one arm up and then touch across, whee, and then up and then down and then up and cross and up and down again, and see how much we can keep the hips stable as we do it. So that's the concept. So Hannes, if your wrists are too much, you might have just to do it even from, you could do it perhaps from child's pose. And you get that nice rotation and back again. So let's come up into forward bend. So bringing the hands up, letting the belly come back and up to come over into forward bend. And maybe do a couple of stitches first, just letting the head lead to come, let the back length, the head lengthen up. So the whole torso comes straight again, just in front, just to halfway. And then really taking the psoas back and up to come down again. And just do a few of those, just to get that back, lengthening away forwards to half to flat back, and then down again, back and up. That's it. Psoas working back and up, and the PSAS coming around to the ASAS all the time, so that we get that back, opening the serratus anterior working. The breath is flowing. And then when you're ready, walking forwards into plank. Keeping that engagement. And then keeping that as we then balance on, come across onto one arm, lifting the arm up into the air, and then coming back across so the hand touches the shoulder, and then back again up into the air, and then down again. Again, stabilizing through the torso, so that the other arm can swing up and across and back and down. Is that useful, Hannes? Just to do it from there. Getting that twist.
Beck is working a lot, doing it from on the knees.
Yes, I mean, it's
What you're doing with your arms. I think this is just fine.
Yes, yes,
Just
there's actually a lot happening there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. So here's another new one for you, which is a bit of a strange one, and you may or may not like it. But from high plank, we're going to draw the legs in like we've been doing, drawing them up, and then letting them come up onto the side of the leg. Now you don't have to keep them on the toes on the front when you go back. You can have them there, but you're balancing for a moment, holding the torso up inside in this way, and balancing for a moment on the leg, on the outside of the leg. And it's don't attempt it if you can't do it. It's really quite a tough movement. So, but I think it's really working these side muscles of the legs. Does that make sense?
I'm leaving now. Thanks.
Okay. Great
Bye-bye.
to see you.
Yeah.
Yes, I hope your wife's better
Yes.
soon.
They will.
Yes, and that you don't catch it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Thanks.
Hopefully. Yeah. Go well.
Best to everybody. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye, Hannes.
Could you start in down dog?
So you're in a high plank,
Oh, in a high
So
plank.
you've sucked your legs under you in the way we've been doing. So that's it. Come up to there. That's it. And then can you keep the torso supported where it is? So you can have your toes on. That's it. That's it. That's what you're doing. And you're crossing them over. So you see, that's it. Yes. And then back again. Yes.
Ah.
It's a tough movement, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, Micah. Yeah, and you're really having to support the whole body in that position from here to support it up. So the legs are working, but the torso is really holding. So
hard to breathe in that one.
yes. So I just throw that out as a play for the fit. So it's one of those like the one we were doing of pulling the legs through. It's yes, a bit of a fun challenge. Okay, do you want to try where we started again, or are you knackered with the going down into your plank and your cobra? So we'll just have a go at that again and see whether we got any insights. I'm going to fetch my box back again. Now that we've really worked the core. So we're thinking that torso back and up and PSAS round and the yes. I'm not sure I'm the one that's going to have the insights here. That's it, pushing.
I can't. My
Yeah.
arms are gone.
Run out of juice. Yeah. Did you make any discoveries there, Sarah?
Yes, I discovered that I can only do it in good form for about a 10% bent. And then after that, I lose it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of.
Yeah. So I really think this is another of these things to stage. I mean, I feel I personally am nowhere near ready doing that movement yet.
Yeah.
Just
Me
I need to work on those press ups and the slow down and the slow up to really get my arms, you know, to be able to sustain me all the way to that position and all the way up again. And I can do the all the way down at this point, sustain, but I cannot even begin to get up again. So
it's the same with me. I cannot come up.
Yes.
When I'm down, I definitely cannot come up.
Yeah.
And if I go through, maybe it's a cheat then, and it goes to the shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Possibly.
So, as I say, what this trainer's getting me to do just twice a week is to do 2 minutes of them, just going up and down as far as I can go with form for a minute and a half, and then a half a minute of just or 4 just going down for 10 seconds. And you know, if I recommend it, it's certainly each time I do it, I can feel it's being a little bit stronger.
You stay then down for 10 seconds.
Yes, you're doing. I'll just show you. So again, with I'm on my knees because I can't even begin to get my knees up yet. But you know, little bits at a time. So it's the down and the up. So for 30, and I can go to there now, which I'm really pleased about. I couldn't before. I could really only go to sort of here. But then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can actually stop at that point now, which I couldn't before. I'm just doing that 4 times. And I'm just doing that twice a week. And it's just using all my form, and because the muscles, you know, they've got to be worked to get stronger. So and I really want to build up more strength in the upper body, and it's already helping this elbow, which is interesting. When I was first doing it, it was pulling on the elbow, and now, you know, we've just worked the arms quite hard, and I can't feel it at all. So I think the muscles are beginning to grow, and it's not then pulling on the ligaments and the tendons in the same way. So that's, you know, not strictly Alexander, but who cares?
Yeah, I also had an interesting experience. I've had something with my shoulder for a long time. And anyway, I went to see my doctor, a homeopath, and because I also had a pain here, and she discovered it was a inflamed lymph node.
Right.
And what she gave me actually relieved my shoulder pain.
Interesting.
So I think maybe, you know, sometimes it is something muscular and sometimes it could be something different. And when the inflammation from here dissolved, my shoulder just undid itself. And it's just so fascinating. You know, just once again, everything is so connected.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I also, this shoulder thing, the right shoulder, my homeopathic doctor, she said it was an inflammation.
So she did. I remember.
It's very, that's very funny. No, but because it came out of the blue. Yeah, I did nothing to my shoulder. It just came out of the blue, and it was really, I couldn't do anything. But slowly, slowly it goes away. It's still a little bit there. But when we did the wall thing, what I wanted to say when we did that, because I felt it's almost no arms working there. It's the back is working, it just felt so great.
Yeah.
And pulling them together like is engaging the latissimus, is engaging the whole back, and this was just feeling so good.
Nice. Really
Yeah.
nice. Yes.
It was really one piece thing. It didn't. Yeah, I didn't feel it in the arms.
Yes, it's not weighing on the wrist in the same way. It's the
No.
whole body in a movement. Yeah, I mean, I'm very much aware of that in squat thrust, that it's my back doing really as much work as the legs, and to find that in press up is amazing. But the graded work for press up is just to start on the wall and then to go to the table and then to go to the knees, and yeah. So how did you like the squat thrust? Could you find that one, the one with our foot back on the chair and going down and up?
Yeah, that was quite easy though.
It's an easy move actually now,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you.
And have fun. And see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Neither of you are thinking of joining the book club, are you? I think you're. No, quite. Exactly.
I think I missed the chance to enter a little bit earlier. I feel like yeah, and it's so many. I'm happy when I can keep
Don't
on
worry.
with this Goldie, and
You're doing the Goldie work, and that's great. And Sarah, you're doing all your yoga. It's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. See you in 2
Bye.
weeks.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.